So you remember when Jason 2 had the bright idea of sealing the box with concrete? It was a brilliant plan, which he should have stuck to, for his sake. So, after 8 weeks of adventures and 9 episodes, the final denouement is here. I told you it was gonna be messy. Messy's not even half of it, and in fact, I thought about how it would have to end very shortly into the episode, but I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that didn't work for me. For one thing, there were so many Jasons.
It actually kind of felt that there were too many Jasons for the show to make sense. After all, you can't keep track of all of them.
Exactly, and even though they all should think alike, they're so different. Only one thought of getting arrested in the last episode, and here, only one thought of going into the house. That's the one I'm calling Village Tap Jason. I thought the notice board that Jason's created was a fun idea. And the fact some were classified as Rambo Jasons compared to all the others who were a lot more passive in their desire to reunite with their family made me wonder how they managed to get home. Actually, it makes the feat of Jason finding his way home that much less special if so many made it back, because in an infinite multiverse of possibilities, you've got to think that so many others didn't, and yet we were still left with so many.
How did that work though? Jason and Amanda had 50 ampoules, so they had 25 goes.
A bit more for Jason since Amanda left.
So why were there hundreds of Jasons?
Because every duplicated Jason also made choices and opened other doors, creating more Jasons. And yet, there only ever was a single Jason 2. I know, it was a clever idea, but at the same time it didn't really work. Too many variables for it to make sense, not to mention glaring inconsistencies like having a single Jason 2. So Jason 1, Danielle and Charlie drive off and escape the madness to a place only Charlie knows. I didn't have a problem with that. The biggest issue I had was the pace. Everything slowed down. The sense of threat and or desperation wasn't there for most of the story. Like, there was a huge lull in the middle where Jason 1 and Amanda reconnected.
You don't like the emotional aspect of the story?
It's not that, Gigi. You realize you're being chased by hundreds of yous. They were just way too relaxed about it all. I was surprised the notice board didn't track every Jason's IP addresses. I wondered about that too. It wouldn't have been hard to find the Jason that's monitoring the conversations yet is far away from all the others. That's exactly what I would have done. Actually, I initially thought that's how they were going to get discovered, instead of Jason 1 having somehow dragged Blair into this mess. How? Where was it established Jason 1 convinced Blair to lend him her car? That seemed to come out of the blue and was way too convenient when she texted him, Jason 2, asking for it back. If you want to disappear without the other yous knowing, don't ask a friend to borrow their car. Especially a trackable one. Exactly. You grab a bus and go. That was just a way for the Jasons to find them, which I didn't think worked. They should have gone with my IP tracking idea. Maybe Jasons weren't IT savvy.
I was wondering how so many Jasons managed to get guns.
Yeah, I wondered that too because of that state's strict gun laws. Maybe they got one from another world? One had a rifle. Not so easy to conceal that in your backpack. After the excitement of the previous episode, this felt a bit of a letdown. It's obvious when faced with hundreds of Jasons that your only way out is to go through the box. I was even thinking, Daniela knows what Jason 2's storage room is. They could go there, get it, and they shouldn't have to deal with too many Jasons along the way. Hopefully. Instead, Jason 2 had a change of heart.
Jason 2 was never the most terrifying foe imaginable, was he?
The promotional material did a bit of a bait and switch there for sure. Jason 2 gives up on his dream, gives Jason 1 a car, vials of brain juice, and even a phone explaining his reasons. And away they go. And what happened to Blair? We left her having the upper hand on both Jason 2 and Village Tap Jason. How did they both escape and get the location of her car? And how did all the Rambo Jasons get that info too? There's a gap in the narrative that's quite frustrating as a viewer. The Rambos followed Jason 2 because they'd put a tracking device on his car. But speaking of Village Tap Jason, when he told Jason 1 he'd lost Amanda in a very dark place last episode, who thought it was like a super aggressive Mad Max-like world? I did. Me too.
Yeah. I did.
Except it was dark, as in actual dark, and she got impaled by a fallen tree.
Looks like neither of them grew up watching George of the Jungle.
It was both horrible, unexpected, and disappointing at the same time. To get back to Blair, if I were her, and I had to let myself into Jason's house after having been invited by text, and so no one there, blood on the stairs, and gaffer tape, I would not have gone upstairs.
Yeah. I would have called the police immediately.
It's possible that universe isn't like ours and they don't have horror movies. Same when Jason 1 is in their hideaway house at night and he sees a shape darting through the back door. And he goes out to investigate, leaving the back door wide open. Yeah, I didn't like that. A clever Jason, and we have to assume they all are, or should be, wouldn't have behaved like that. So all of a sudden, Jason 2 just gives up and helps the family out, even killing at least one Jason to help Jason 1. I told you it was going to get messy. And Jason 1 drives over Village Tap Jason. I thought that was unnecessary. Well, somehow all the Rambo Jasons had to be disposed of.
Can you imagine the police report when all those bodies are discovered?
Messy. So messy. No wonder Jason 1 decides to go back in the box. Where dozens of passive Jasons were patiently waiting for them to let them pass. They just wanted to say goodbye to Daniela and Charlie. That felt so very contrived.
And what's going to happen to all those Jasons after Jason 1 and his family are gone?
They've got a generous bank account thanks to Leighton. They'll be fine. So off they go, looking for a new world. Daniela and Charlie seem pretty okay about it.
And what happened to Mechanic Ryan?
Nothing. We never see him again. That was such a messy and unnecessary plot point. Indeed, and had Jason 2 not done that, none of those Jasons would have made it back. Unless they had crowbars from other universes, as I said before. True. And to finish it all, we then take a peek at other travelers. We see giant insect Blair deciding to enter the box again.
And Leighton's still traveling.
Was that Jason 1's Leighton or Jason 2's? I'd say Jason 1's. He was way too happy. We have to assume Jason 2's Leighton, being unprepared and so filled with rage, didn't make it.
Probably another tree victim.
And Ryan doing some sciencey stuff. Seems he settled in pretty quickly in his new world.
You were right about him and Amanda being in the same universe.
It wasn't a hard guess, GG. I suspected he would try to recreate the formula for the brain juice, but what didn't work for me was him finding Amanda. How could he have known she'd be a traveler? It would have made a lot more sense had it been the other way around, considering she had the extra vials, which Ryan had no idea about, which he could then test and replicate. So that's it? That's the end of the road? How does the story end in the book, Mouse? Well, the book primarily focused on Jason 1, so all those extracurricular activities weren't present. But it ends pretty much the same way, although Jason 1 does kill Jason 2, who was more proper evil than misguided as he was in the show.
Will there be a second season?
Nothing's been announced. They're certainly laying the groundwork for it, but I'm not sure where the story would go from here. I mean, think about it. Every time Jason, Daniela, and Charlie open a door, they'll spawn new versions of themselves. Just how far do you go with that? How do you resolve any of this? Maybe it's better to leave it open-ended. Which is not as satisfying as it could be.
It's hopeful, though. At least they're together.
As long as they keep thinking good thoughts and don't enter dark worlds.
Watch out for that tree!